In the dim glow of the office parking lot, under a flickering street lamp that buzzed like a trapped firefly, Alex stood frozen as his boss, Elena, leaned in too close. Her breath was a mix of expensive scotch and regret, her eyes glassy with the haze of one too many after-work drinks. "Alex," she slurred, her hand brushing his cheek, "you're the only one who gets me." Her lips inched forward, and time seemed to stretch. But Alex gently placed his hands on her shoulders, pushing her back just enough to create space. "Elena," he said, his voice steady but laced with a vulnerability that surprised even him, "if you were sober, I'd make the first move." Her eyes widened in confusion, and in that charged silence, the weight of unspoken feelings hung heavy. But how did they get here? Let's rewind to the beginning of this unexpected journey, one that would change everything. If this story hooks you right from the start, hit that like button and subscribe for more heartfelt tales that remind us love shows up in the most surprising ways. Now, let's dive in. Alex Thompson had always been the kind of man who played it safe. At 32, he was a single dad to a rambunctious 6-year-old named Lily, who had his curly brown hair and her mother's infectious laugh. Life hadn't been kind to Alex in the romance department. His wife, Sarah, had passed away 3 years ago in a car accident that still haunted his dreams, a sudden storm on a slick road, a phone call in the middle of the night that shattered his world. Since then, it was just him and Lily against the world. He worked as a graphic designer at Apex Marketing, a mid-sized firm in the bustling city of Seattle, where deadlines were as relentless as the rain. Alex poured his energy into his job and his daughter, leaving little room for anything else. Dating? That was a distant memory. He told himself he didn't have time for complications, especially not at work. Elena Ramirez was the complete opposite. As the CEO of Apex, she was a force of nature, sharp, ambitious, and unapologetically fierce. At 35, she had built the company from a small startup in her garage to a thriving agency with clients across the country. Elena was openly bisexual, a fact she wore like armor in a male-dominated industry. Her personal life, however, was a carefully guarded secret. Divorced 5 years ago from a marriage that had been more business partnership than passion, she threw herself into work, late nights, and the occasional glass of wine that turned into a bottle. Colleagues whispered about her intensity, but few saw the loneliness beneath it. Elena had a soft spot for underdogs, which is why she had hired Alex 2 years ago, impressed by his portfolio and the quiet determination in his eyes during the interview. Their first real interaction happened during a team-building retreat 6 months into Alex's tenure. The company had rented a cabin in the Cascade Mountains for a weekend of bonding exercises that mostly involved awkward icebreakers and too much coffee. Alex was there reluctantly, having arranged for Lily to stay with his sister. He wasn't one for small talk, but when Elena paired everyone up for a hiking challenge, she ended up with him. "Looks like it's you and me, Thompson," she said with a grin, her dark hair tied back in a ponytail that made her look younger than her years. As they trudged up the trail, conversation flowed surprisingly easily. Alex talked about Lily's latest obsession with dinosaurs, and Elena shared stories of her own childhood in a big Mexican-American family, where Sundays meant tamales and laughter. "You know, being a single parent isn't easy," Elena said at one point, pausing to catch her breath. "My ex and I never had kids, but I see how you juggle it all. It's inspiring." Alex blushed, unused to compliments. "Thanks. Lily's my everything. She keeps me going." By the end of the hike, something subtle had shifted, a mutual respect that lingered in the office hallways. Back at work, their professional relationship deepened. Elena started assigning Alex to high-profile projects, praising his creativity in meetings. "Alex has a way of making the ordinary extraordinary," she'd say, her eyes meeting his a beat too long. He noticed, but dismissed it as boss appreciation. After all, he was straight, or at least, that's what he'd always assumed. But late nights working on campaigns together revealed more. One evening, as they pored over designs in her office, Elena opened up about her divorce. He wanted someone who fit into his perfect life. I wanted more passion, you know? Not just routine. Alex nodded, sharing his own grief over Sarah. I loved her so much, but sometimes I wonder if I'll ever feel that again. In that vulnerability, a spark ignited, though neither acknowledged it. The challenges began subtly. Alex's sister, Mia, noticed his growing mentions of Elena. You talk about her a lot, bro. Is there something there? She'd tease during family dinners. Alex laughed it off. She's my boss. That's it. But inside, doubts crept in. He found himself replaying their conversations, noticing the way Elena's laugh lit up a room, or how her confidence made him feel seen. Was it admiration, or something more? And what about Lily? Introducing anyone new felt like a betrayal to Sarah's memory, let alone the complication of it being his boss. Meanwhile, Elena wrestled with her own demons. She had a history of bad decisions fueled by alcohol, nights out that ended in regrets. After her divorce, she'd sworn off office romances, but Alex was different. He was kind, grounded, a reminder of the stability she craved. During a particularly stressful quarter, when a major client threatened to pull out, Elena leaned on Alex more than ever. They pulled all-nighters, sharing takeout and stories. One night, as the clock struck 2 a.m., Elena looked at him across the conference table. You're irreplaceable, Alex. Not just at work. Her words hung in the air, charged with unspoken meaning. Alex felt a flutter in his chest, but he changed the subject, talking about Lily's school play instead. The turning point came during the company's annual holiday party. It was held at a swanky downtown hotel, with twinkling lights, an open bar, and music that encouraged dancing. Alex attended solo, as usual, planning to make a quick appearance before heading home to relieve the babysitter. Elena, however, was in rare form, stressed from the year's ups and downs. She hit the bar early. By midnight, she was tipsy, her usual poise slipping. Alex noticed her laughing too loudly with a group of executives, her cheeks flushed. He approached her cautiously. Hey, boss. You okay? Elena turned, her eyes lighting up. Alex. My favorite designer. Come dance with me. Before he could protest, she grabbed his hand and pulled him onto the floor. The music was slow, a ballad that wrapped around them like a warm blanket. As they swayed, Elena rested her head on his shoulder. You smell nice, she murmured. Alex's heart raced. This was crossing lines, but part of him didn't want to stop. The dance ended, but Elena didn't let go. Walk me to my car, she asked, her voice soft. In the parking lot, the cool night air did little to sober her. That's when it happened, the lean in, the attempted kiss. Alex's mind flashed to Lily, to his job, to the confusing feelings he'd been burying. He stopped her gently, his words tumbling out, Elena, if you were sober, I'd make the first move. It was the truth he'd only just realized, his attraction wasn't imagined, it was real, but it had to be right. Elena stepped back, embarrassment flooding her face. Oh God, Alex, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. She fumbled for her keys, but Alex took them. Let me call you a cab. We can talk tomorrow. The next day was agony for both. Alex dropped Lily at school, his mind replaying the night. What if she fired him? What if this ruined everything? Elena, nursing a hangover, stared at her coffee, mortified. She had crossed a boundary, and with Alex of all people, the one person she respected most. She called him into her office that afternoon, the air thick with tension. About last night, she started, avoiding his eyes. I was out of line. It won't happen again. Alex sat across from her, his hands clasped. Elena, it wasn't just the alcohol. I meant what I said. But we have to do this right. I'm a dad, I can't risk Lily's stability. And you're my boss, that's a power dynamic we can't ignore. What followed was a raw conversation that peeled back layers. Elena admitted her drinking had become a crutch, a way to numb the loneliness. I haven't let anyone in since my divorce. But you make me want to try. Alex shared his fears. I've been stuck in grief for so long. Sarah was my world, but meeting you has shown me I can feel again. It's scary. They agreed to boundaries. Elena would seek help for her drinking, starting with therapy and cutting back. Alex would take time to process, ensuring any relationship wouldn't affect work. The resolution wasn't instant, it was a slow build. Over the next months, Elena attended AA meetings, finding strength in sobriety. Alex introduced her to Lily gradually, first as Daddy's friend from work. Lily took to her immediately, charmed by Elena's stories and the way she made dinosaur roars during playtime. Challenges arose. Apex's HR raised eyebrows at the budding romance, requiring disclosures and adjustments. Colleagues gossiped, but Alex and Elena faced it together, their bond strengthening. One evening, 6 months later, on a sober date at a quiet Italian restaurant, Elena looked at Alex across the candlelit table. I'm ready if you are. Alex smiled, leaning in. I've been waiting. Their first kiss was tentative, then deepening with the promise of something real. It wasn't perfect. There were arguments about work-life balance, moments when old grief resurfaced for Alex, or when Elena's past temptations tested her. But they communicated, supported each other, and grew. Lily became the glue, her innocent questions forcing honesty. Is Elena your girlfriend now, Daddy? She'd ask, and Alex would nod, his heart full. Elena found joy in family life, teaching Lily Spanish words and helping with homework. The company thrived under Elena's clearer leadership, and Alex's designs won awards, boosting his confidence. In the end, their story wasn't about a drunken mistake but about second chances. Alex learned that love could bloom in unexpected places, honoring the past while embracing the future. Elena discovered vulnerability wasn't weakness, it was the key to true connection. Together, they built a family, proving that sometimes, the best moves are the ones made with clear eyes and open hearts. As their journey shows, life has a way of surprising us when we least expect it. If this tale of resilience, love, and growth touched you, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. What's your takeaway from Alex and Elena's story? Share in the comments below. I read every one. Thanks for watching, and remember, sobriety in choices leads to the sweetest rewards.